Hello everyone, welcome back again. This is video number 2 of our unit 13 INDRB 12 class for Bakersfield College. This is our text chapter. So we did in the previous video single line text. We did the introduction of the course notes. So now we're going to go to multi-line text. So we already did single line on the previous video. So we go again to annotate right here, and now when we click right here, we see there's multi-line text. So if I click there, and I'm gonna get to this frame right here because that's where you're gonna work, that's what you're gonna do. So when I look at my multi-line text, when I start, it says specify first corner. So in contrast to my single line text, when the first question is on my command line, specify your first point, your starting point. This one says specify first corner. For multi-line text, you're gonna create a window, and then you're gonna create your text inside. So what I'm gonna do is probably what you're gonna do, it looks like my settings are gonna tell me that I'm going to have my window from the center point of this fillet right here, and I'm going to click there, and the next corner is going to be the center point of this other one. So how are you going to accomplish that? Well, if you have your object snaps on and then you select the center option, then you'll be able to snap to the center. So I'll just go and click this window. Okay, that gives me a window. So your assignment says type all of your work, all of your text first, then you can come back and modify it. So what I'm gonna do right here is I'm gonna type some of the information that you will have on your exercise so that you can see exactly what you're gonna do. So when I do multi-line text, if you notice right here, the tab completely changed. So it becomes a brand new working area, and this is where you're gonna have all of your options, completely different than what you have with single line text. This multi-line text behaves just like any other word processing program. If you use Word, if you use Google Docs or any of those programs, then you will be very familiar with it. This allows you to do justifications right here. You have the justification, you have the line spacing right here, you have the option of doing numbered text, letters, bullets. You can go to special characters right here if you want to add a degree symbol or plus or minus and so forth. You have a lot of different options right here. You can spell check right here. So you have many different options right here that you do not have on your single line text up front. So right here it tells you the layer and the color, the URN. It tells you the text style that you're using. You'll see in the next video the text styles, how we're gonna create them. You have underline, overline, you have bold, you have italic, you have many different options right here. This will be the height of your text right here. We'll see in a little bit, and then this will be the options that you have for the text styles, okay, right here when we create those. But for now, I'm just gonna go ahead and type. So I have my window, and I'm just gonna say, okay, this is going to be an Associates of Science degree. This is, I'm sorry, degree, misspelling right here. Okay, so Associates of Science degree, and then I just hit enter. Oops, go back, go to the end, hit enter, and my next one says this is your actual exercise. Industrial technology. I'm sorry, the second part. Industrial technology. Okay, and then it says industrial, no, it's industrial drawing. Oh, sorry. industrial drawing option, and then I will hit enter, but it looks like I have a double space there, and then I will see it says required classes, and that's going to give me a list. That's going to give you a list of all the classes that you need. So at this time, your exercise will say that you need to have bullets. You need to bullet this text because it's going to identify the different classes. So when I get right here, I can go and say, well, I could do my spacing right here. I can change my spacing different, but really what I need is bullets. So I could do bullets, I can do letters, uppercase, lowercase, I can do numbers. So I have my options right here. But my exercise, your exercise says that I need bullets right here. So I click there and it gives me bullets just like I said, like Word. So the first one is going to be your INDR. So you're going to do capital letters, INDR, INDR B12, that's your class, right? And then you have a tab right here, and then it says Introduction to Drafting in CAD. So Introduction to Drafting and CAD, and then it says this class is 3 units. That's the class that you're taking, right? So I'm just going to type a couple of sentences so that we can see the difference. So if I hit enter, it gives me another bullet, and it says INDR B20, and then that's A. I tab it. It says computer aided drafting and design. So computer aided drafting. It's actually spelled out, and design, and that one also is going to be a 3-unit course. 3, my goodness. Okay. So at this time, I could continue typing the other 10 or 12 different classes that I have, but I have enough to show you right here what you're going to do. So when I'm right here and I just started typing, I don't even know the height of my text. I didn't realize what text style I'm going to use, and none of that. So I just started typing. I kind of look at the instructions for bullets and the different classes, but I don't have information about my height until I go right here and I can say, well, how do I know how big my text is going to be? On your exercise, at the bottom part, it's going to say font Romans. So you're going to have to go and have a Romans text style right here that you'll see in a little bit how we're going to set it up. And it says large text 1.25, which is 1/8, and then small text is going to be 0.094, and then you're going to have an alignment of top left. So you're going to have to do all those things right here as well. So if I want to change, because I know this right here is going to be 1/8, but then this is going to be 1/8, but the next text is going to be 0.094. So if my text right here, if only this part needs to be 0.094, if I just go and select it, and when you see this kind of bluish, faded blue color over your text, that means you have selected. And then if you go right here where it says annotative, there's this down arrow, and then you go and find the text height that you need. So in this case it's 0.094. I already had it there, but if it's not there, you can simply go and say, okay, I'm going to select this, and you could go and just, when you see that this text gets highlighted, you can just go 0.094, and then it will type in that new text height just in case you don't have it there. So once you do that, you can go and select everything else. Okay, this also needs to be height. And so now all of your text right here is going to be the same height. Looks like this one didn't change. So I'm going to drop it there. So now everything happens to be the same height. And it's that simple. You just continue. It says that you create all of your text, then you come back, then you can adjust the justification if you want, because you don't know where your justification is right now, but you're gonna have to go and adjust to the top left, so you have top right, top left, middle, all of your justifications are gonna be right here. See, if I change something, it's gonna go a different direction. Look, so you're gonna have top right here, which is what you are. Actually, you're gonna have top left. I'm sorry. So top left, this is what you're gonna have right here. So you have your justification right here, or top center, or top, whatever your instructions say. This is what you're gonna do it. So once you do it, then you go back. If you need to spell check, you can go here, and then you can spell check. If you want to add, like I said, special symbols, then you will be here. And if you want a different text style, you will go and change it right here. But we're gonna change just like we did with layers in the past class. We're going to make sure that before we start typing, we select the correct text style that we want right here. Okay, so this is going to be how you're going to do your multi-line text. Well, once you're done, if you continue to enter, remember that under single line text, if we do enter again, double enter, it takes you out of the command. Right here, when you're doing multi-line text, it doesn't happen like that, so you have to click outside. If you're already done with your text and you said that's all I needed, now I am done, so I just click outside, and then you have your text there, and then you'll see that your ribbon changes again. And until I go, so if I go right here, until I go and double click on it, then that's when my ribbon changes again, so that I can edit my text accordingly. Okay, so I click outside. Now you see the difference. Here's my single line text that I did earlier. When I click, even though I was able to create these 3 rows of text at the same time, when I go to try to edit this, it only happens one at a time. If I go here with my multi-line text, it becomes a single unit, so I have to go in and I can modify everything inside, and it automatically gives me the modification tools right here that I need to do whatever it's needed. Okay, so that's my my multi-line text. Now, since we are right here, and I think we have a little bit of time in this video, remember, you have your limits, and this chapter is covering limits, even though we've done them in the past. But if you have, the limits are simply your virtual paper if you want. When we did the hand drafting part, you had paper that was 8.5 by 11 inches, the standard letter size, so you could have had the 11 by 17 and create those drawings. Well, those were the limits that you had. You can't be drawing outside of that. But in CAD, you have your limits, and it's essentially the same thing. You have certain distance on the X direction, certain distance on the Y direction. That gives you your limits of where you are. It doesn't mean that you cannot draw outside of those limits, as you wouldn't be able to draw outside of a physical piece of paper. What happens is that your program works best when it's inside those limits. So if you know you're going to be working with 8.5 by 11 or 11 by 17 or whatever the paper size, or if you have something different as you will progress creating drawings that will require a particular scale, then you will need a larger piece of paper. Then you set your limits accordingly. So in this case, we can do, for this particular one, I believe your exercise 11 by 17. So you will follow your instructions on the handout. It says limits lower left corner 0, 0, upper right corner 17 by 11. So I'm just gonna do zoom extent so that I can get everything to the front of my screen. And to set your limits, you simply type limits and hit enter. You will see that it's going to be asking you specify lower left corner, and it automatically gives you 0, 0. That's your origin. If you recall from the coordinates exercises, you're always in reference to 0, 0. So I acknowledge that by saying enter. And then the next one is going to be 17 by 11. So it's going to be 17 on my x, 11 on my y, and I hit enter. You won't see anything. You won't see, your screen readjusting or anything. It just means that your program now knows that it's going to be working at its best within those parameters, within those limits. 17 units on x, 11 units on y. When you draw something outside of that, it sort of readjusts, and then you'll be able to go in, but it will just, your program will just respond to its best inside those limits. Okay, so this covers our limits, and it covers how we're going to do our multi-line text. And like I said, under your exercises, the only ones that you're going to have as multi-line text is going to be the text that goes right here. On this frame right here, you're going to have text justified to fit, single line text. You're going to have single line text right here, a little bit of text right here, because you will have your vicinity map right here, but the text right here and the 3 parts of text that you're going to have on these smaller frames, it's all going to be single line text. Okay, then that's it for this video. On the next one, we'll cover text styles. Okay, thank you.